How important does rent assistance become as new COVID-19 cases go through the roof? Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for today. This one's about rent assistance and really what's going to happen next week as we see the debut of the Republicans' plan for a second stimulus package proposed by Mitch McConnell and Steve Mnuchin. We know what the Democrats want to do, but what do the Republicans want to do? Let's get right to it. The Republicans have really stayed silent for rent assistance, rent grants, rent evictions, moratoriums, and the similar nuances. In some cases, they left it up to the states. Currently, the states have really grappled with it, whether there was a Republican-run state or a Democrat. The consensus has not been universal. 50% of states currently have rent eviction moratoriums in place. This means the states do not allow you to be evicted until the pandemic is over. Other states don't have that. And so they have had rampant runaway evictions across the board. Other cities and counties across the country have tried to do rent assistance programs. Last Thursday, New York issued a grant program for its citizens. Friday, Los Angeles expired its grant program. Other counties, cities we have detailed as well on this channel have launched programs. Sometimes there's a lot of money for it, sometimes there's not. What we've employed you to do is Google your city, county, or state and look for the words grant or rent assistance to see if there's something where you live, because sometimes it could be the break or make for your existence until we get a second stimulus package approved. The second stimulus package proposed by the Democrats is currently in the House. It's the HEROES Act, calls for a massive sweeping rent assistance program. I mean, this is great news. So what's involved with it? It has a lot of different elements. Let me go through it. The first one is literally free money. Free money that would come to you if you are having problems getting rent paid. The program would have you qualify based upon how much money you make per year, qualify that you're impacted by COVID-19, and list where your place of dwelling is. If you then were eligible for it, it would route the money for your rent from the fund to your landlord automatically on your behalf for a certain number of months. It would do the same for utilities. So you would literally have to do nothing once approved. The money wouldn't come to you. It would go right from the fund to the landlords. It's great in so many regards. If you look at the food chain, that's really at issue here. It protects the entire food chain. What am I talking about? I'm not talking about soup plantation and ice buffet. I'm referring to the following. The food chain starts with the tenant. If the tenant can't make rent, that's very, very, very bad, because ultimately what's going to happen is the tenant's going to become homeless, going to be just put on the street, and they could be inflicted with COVID-19. That's not the situation anyone wants to have. So what the federal government is ensuring, you stay in your home. You are protected in your home. But the government doesn't want you to stay in your home for free. They want to give money so that you give it to your landlord. So now the landlord is protected in the food chain. The landlord is protected because they have their own bills to pay. They have property tax and utilities. They have a lot of bills that they have to pay for their property. So ensures that the landlord can make their bills. Great news. The next part on the food chain is the second part of the bill. It proposes a moratorium against anything for real estate oriented, namely any mortgage foreclosures, whether you own your property as a home or you own your property as like an apartment building. So in the scenario we're just talking about, where the apartment building owner was not getting rent for the tenants, now he's getting the tenants rent, he can pay it to his mortgage forbearer. But if it's still not enough, the bill as proposed would prevent the bank from foreclosing on the apartment building. I mean, no one wants an apartment building foreclosed on, because the landlord's going to lose the building and the tenant's going to be on the street. So it protects that whole level of the food chain. It also protects that the banks are fluid. So it puts money in the hands of the banks, ensures that they don't have to foreclose. Next, if it's not sort of a tenant-landlord situation, but a property, you own your home and you live in your own home, but you can't make mortgage, then it protects you as well. It prevents the bank from foreclosing on your property and prevents any what's called mortgage forbearance. All these words are not words we normally use. I mean, we don't go to the water cooler and say, hey, how about that mortgage forbearance and how about that rent eviction moratorium? I mean, moratorium and forbearance are not words we normally use. And I know they're large words and they're hard to spell, but that's really what's going on here. The plans are great. They're over-encompassing. There's the HEROES Act, which is currently in the Senate from the House. There's the Elizabeth Warren plan proposed by the former presidential candidate, which does something a little bit more involved, really great. She wants more money for grants. She wants more protections. She wants us to continue into late 2021. You have all that. And then you have the Republican silence. Next week, we're going to see if there's a rent program in their bill. I mean, I got to tell you that of the things that I have been detailing for the second stimulus package on this channel for the last couple of weeks, I have heard nothing from the Republicans on hazard pay and rent assistance. Nothing. And it really, really is sort of scary. But finally, tomorrow, we may hear what's going on. If you're new to this channel, thanks for subscribing. Always like and subscribe to our channel. We've got about 10,000 new viewers in the last 48 hours. But one of the things I've been detailing is a really great report from Friday, which says that Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, and Mitch McConnell, who is, that guy from Kentucky, who needs no further description, have been silently behind closed doors writing up the second stimulus package for purposes of the Republicans, and will debut it this coming Monday to press. Not as a bill into Congress, because Congress is closed, but as a bill to press. And so we will see if they propose rent assistance or not. And I got to tell you, if they don't, oh boy, the stuff is going to hit the fan. Because no one of any political party, any economist group, or any political faction thinks that you can get through this pandemic without any help for rent. It absolutely has to be done. Now, there are different ways to give protections, but literally to do nothing would be political suicide. It would absolutely not work. Everyone is talking about this financial cliff, and I've been talking about for days and days and days. The financial cliff is coming up. Everything is expiring in the next couple of days in this month of July. Unemployment benefits of FPUC, that's $600 from the federal government, expiring in late July. Some of the eviction moratoriums are expiring in late July. Some of the mortgage forbearances are expiring in late July. A lot of things are happening. And if you don't have protections for it, it could become very serious very, very quickly. The other problem is what we currently see on the wave of what's happening. A lot of reports are now talking about the number of eviction cases that have been filed in the last couple of days. As I said to you before, half of the states don't have protective orders in place from the governors preventing evictions. So landlords have been rushing to court to file lots and lots and lots of evictions. How many? Numbers that have never been seen in this country. Apparently, the last recession of the 90s saw evictions over several years of a couple 5 to 10 million. They're now seeing eviction cases of about 20 to 40 million just in a few days. It's that big of a ramp up that you really have to have these protections, because no one wants American citizens to become homeless during a pandemic. A pandemic that can spread as it has spread is not a good thing. And so ultimately, I want you to be informed and educated about the following. It's so important. Next week, there's going to be a lot of hot air, and I don't mean the hot air of an amusement of a balloon that goes over Albuquerque with a lot of colors. I mean politicians. Politicians are going to be talking and talking and talking more than I talk, which is a lot. They're going to be talking a lot, and they are going to be literally pitching you and mitching you about their proposals. And I don't want you to be worried if you hear someone not bring up hazard pay or not bring up rent assistance or say, I am not approving a second stimulus package unless there's rent assistance in there, or I am vetoing a second stimulus package if there is rent in there. I don't want you to worry, because that's what they do for a living. They talk a lot. Sometimes hot air, sometimes blowing air out of their ear, but other times it is just literally that. And so what's going to happen is you have these two second stimulus packages from the Republicans and Democrats. They're going to get merged together. They have to. That's the way the Congress absolutely works. And they have to pass both the House and the Senate. A lot of times when they talk to press, they act like there's only one body of Congress. There's only the Senate. There's only the House. There's two. They both have to, every bill has to pass both of them. That's the really great news. And so what I want you to be informed and educated about as you sit here right now is I want you to, one, know and figure out how you can make rent between now and late August, because that is a big concern. A lot of these things, whether it's the second stimulus package or the rent assistance programs, these things may not come literally to your bank account until late August. So I don't want you to sit here and think that because I'm doing a video on, July 10th or July 15th or something, that the funds could be there July, in 3 days from now. No, they're literally not in session, Congress. While you're struggling to make rent and trying to pay bills and put food on your table, Congress is on vacation. Really, really horrible. It is. And then they come back for late July and they work for a few days and they go on vacation again. We're sitting here talking about rent bills for people who are facing eviction, and they keep on taking vacation on your tax dollars. Something has to be done with this group, and it's bad across both party lines. But ultimately, what I want you to do is make sure that you can make rent. And so that's why I've been doing all these videos to talk about rent assistance grant programs, whether you're in New York or Los Angeles. We did Tennessee. I think we did Chattanooga, Tennessee yesterday. I think we had Louisiana one day. I want you to be alert because there's a lot of programs out there, and I can't possibly cover 50-something states. I see a lot of your comments in the comments of the daily videos are saying, how about Phoenix? How about Orlando? I can't do it for you. I can't. I literally can't Google every single city of every single state for you and find if there's a grant program for you. It's too overwhelming. If you have an Android phone, pick it up and literally press the button and say, there's that button on the front, say, hey Google, is there rent grants in Orlando? And the phone will answer it for you. Ultimately, getting this information to people who are in times of need is so important. I know a lot of you don't have computers. A lot of you don't have internet access. You're relying upon Wi-Fi or cell phones. And I know the dissemination of information really is inequitable in this country. It's not fair. It's not fair. People who are struggling financially don't have the means financially to have a computer, have Wi-Fi, have internet access, and sometimes don't have access to the information that will give them the money that they need. So if you are in the comments and you see someone needing help, if you can help them, just disseminating them information, please do. That is the spirit of this channel, people helping one another, whether it's EIDL or rent assistance. If you could just Google it for them, because you never know if that person in the comments right next to you doesn't have access to a computer, or doesn't know how to look it up, or doesn't have Wi-Fi, or doesn't have internet access. If you can give that extra help to that person, that could be the saving grace. As Kevin Lee, who is a longtime viewer of this channel, and his story I always default to, he turned to me personally for help to get his EIDL loan because he had a small, wonderful farm that is a dairy farm in Texas, and he also rents equipment. But the pandemic hit him hard. It hit him very hard. And so he went through the EIDL loan process, but it was it was slowing down. It wasn't moving. It wasn't getting him the money. It's sort of like when I'm talking to you with the rent assistance. I don't want you to wait around till late August because it's taking so many weeks. Well, he couldn't wait. He knew his loan may not get processed fast enough. He found a grant program in Texas. He applied for it. It was on the news one day. He got the grant. I don't know how much it was. He said there was a massive surge of people applying within just hours. He saw on the local news. He got the grant. It came from nowhere. It saved him from facing eviction. And guess what? Weeks later, this channel had got him that massive loan. But the point is that the loan that we got him came so late because it's not our loan, it's SBA's loan. It came so late that it may have not have saved him from the problems of rent. What I want you to ensure is that you can make rent. If you stay informed, stay educated, stay smiling, everything will improve. So please do that, and stay of LA for more.